Greetings and welcome to this meditation on April 10th, 2025. We are meeting here at the Unitarian Church, some of us here and online, and we're going to meditate. We've just been discussing the kaleidoscope and mind movies, and we're not going to integrate that into this meditation. We'll just see where this meditation takes us. But as we start, we all do that same thing, becoming comfortable, sitting quietly, restfully, closing the eyes, breathing deeply. And notice how your deeper breath brings you into the calming rhythms. And as we've been doing in previous weeks, not only grounding into this present moment with the breath, but rehearsing renewing emotional states. And you can pick one or several. Just come into an awareness of what certain emotions might feel like. You can pick gratitude and joy and peace and love and a love of life, appreciation, courage, fulfillment. What would that feel like? What would it be like to not only wish and want for something, but to have it? Feel the emotion now. It could be about something in the future or the past, something anticipated, something remembered, but bring it into this moment. And if we've learned anything from Dr. Joe, that these emotions are important, and we tend to have that habit of rehearsing depleting emotions that take something from us. But we can rehearse renewing emotional states. What's that feel like for you? What would it like to be? What would it be like to be calm, centered, to know peace? Let that be your intention as you breathe, to breathe very, very deeply with a softness. And we've done this before, but I'd like to repeat something that has been a part of a meditation in the past, but to ask two questions. And they are, who am I? And what am I? There may be all sorts of ways that you answer those questions. And as you do that, ask them again and go deeper each time. As you may answer them in reference to your external life and what you do, who you're with, occupation, family. But even beyond that, even deeper, who are you? And what are you? Who am I? What am I? What if you're something more than than how you normally define yourself? What if it's something deeper? What if it's something even in a way beyond this life, beyond this existence that you're living? What if it has to do with who you are as a divine being, an eternal self, a being of light? What if you're more than your job or your occupation in what you do every day that seems to be redundant sometimes, routine? What if there's a freedom to consider something else about you? What if you were infinite and eternal? What if you were expansive and expanding? How would you define yourself then? What if you were radiantly divine, one with all that is, source? Who would you be then? What would you be? And what would that be like? And what if you have a habit of thinking small about yourself? But then just now, as you begin to consider this, what if you thought very largely about you, something more than what you would consider is your typical small representation of yourself? What if you were more than that? Who would you be? What would you be? What if there are aspects of your personality that are in you that have yet to be lived? What if there's parts of you that could be accessed and there would be a different representation of you? Imagine that just for a moment, because if you can imagine it, it must be present somewhere. Dream. Dream of being something even grander and greater than what you normally know about yourself. And we have taken time in the past to consider Plato's allegory of the cave. And there are those prisoners in the cave who sit fastened at the ankles, and the wrists, and the neck, heads positioned forward, staring at a wall, seeing the shadow play of images that come from the light and the movement behind them, thinking that that is all that there is, not knowing of any light except for what is cast upon the wall, only knowing those images. But as you know, there was one prisoner who somehow broke free and went through the passageway to the lighted world outside and saw the light. He was enlightened, awakened. He woke up. What if it was like that? What if there was something more than just your typical existence? What if you were able to be enlightened in that same way and to see more, to know more, to experience more about you and about this world, about your life, about all that is around you? What if you saw things differently? Everything. What would the more be? What would it be like to be more enlightened? What would it be like to no longer be a prisoner, to no longer be, in a way, chained down, trapped, lacking freedom, wishing for freedom? What if you did have that? What would the more be like for you? The more that could come to you? What are those unlived aspects of yourself and your life that could be represented and manifested in your life? What if you were more than what you normally see yourself to be? What would that be like? What if you were to awaken to the fullest extent? What would that be like? Fully as a divine being, one with Source, powerful to do more, to experience more, to achieve more, even the impossible, overcoming all of those limitations that arise from your small self, to be the limitless, infinite being that you really are, expressing advanced consciousness, opening up a wider vista of reality. Imagine that. You being more than what you have ever imagined yourself to be before. Being awakened to remember everything, expressing divinity from your true nature, your true self, and your inner being. What would that feel like? To be free, to be expanded, to be everything that you really, really are. You're an eternal being. Your true self is divine. You are divine. What if you knew that completely and expressed that in every moment of your life, or even imagined it right now? What would that be like on the outer landscape of being, all the situations of your life? Who would you be? Who are you, really? And what are you? To do that, you may need to acknowledge some of those old ways and old patterns, old cycles, removing blocks and obstacles, even asking for that from the divine realm to release trapped energy, process outdated wounds and trauma, to ground and expand a new layer of consciousness, releasing, letting go of the old energy. Would you be willing to do that, to come into the new, the real, who you really are? All of that, those old patterns and practices that do not serve you in your highest interest, so that you can receive and integrate the new energies of your true and divine self, that you may live in power and purpose, meaning. What if you were to just simply be the you that is really you as your true self? Imagine that. And then come into the feeling of that. What would that feel like? And feel that in your heart or in your body somewhere. Feel it now. How does it feel to be divine? How does it feel to be your true self? How does it feel to be you? The expanded you. Anchor that in you. Remember it. Commit it to memory in that timeless place, beyond the past and the future, but in the present. Being you right now. And take that with you as we end this meditation. Savor that in your heart. You're ready? Just come back to this room and open your eyes.